Hi, and welcome to Movement in Menopause. I am Jill, and we are going to do a restorative sequence today to hopefully help with the symptoms of having a period, which in perimenopause we do still have periods, and sometimes they can be worse than they were previously. So I'm going to put a link to maybe a couple different music playlists that you may want to have in the background while you're doing this. And let's go over the props before we get started so we can get those kind of somewhat ready so we're not, scrambling when the time comes. So I have a bolster, I have 2 blocks, and a blanket. So if you probably have a blanket. Or you can use a towel, certainly. If you don't, for a bolster, maybe use a couch cushion, just something that's maybe a little bit more firm than a pillow would be, and maybe blocks. You could books that you can use instead of blocks, just something that's gonna prop up your bolster. The blanket, I just want to kind of get it ready now so that we're not fumbling when we want to take the time to use it. So I'm just going to make a long blanket roll with it. And we're going to use this once or twice during this class, depending on where you need it. So blanket roll is done, and I'm just going to put it off to the side so that it's ready to use when we are ready to go. So let's start moving. Let me just, for now, get the stuff out of the way. If you need to pause to go grab everything and then come back, that's fine. And we will get started. So first I just want to start in a seated position, and let's just start with some neck stretches. So bringing your head up tall, just let your right ear fall down to your right shoulder. And let's let gravity do its thing here. No assisted stretches for this one today. Just take a nice deep breath in and just kind of feeling that breath help with the stretch. And exhale. And then inhaling, come back up to center. And exhale, dropping down to the left ear to left shoulder. And just taking nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. One more deep breath in. And exhale. And then bringing your head back up to center. Take a deep breath in, reach your arms up alongside your ears. And then drop your right hand to the mat. Left arm along left ear, stretching that whole left side body. Nice deep breath in, feeling that belly expand, and exhale, maybe a little bit deeper to the crescent. And then inhaling, coming back up through center, and left hand drops down to the mat, right arm reaches over to the left side. Feel your belly expand on the inhale, and then reaching further to the left on the exhale. Inhaling, coming back up through center, and letting your hands drop down by your side. Deep breath in and exhale. And then taking an inhale again, reaching both arms up. Turning your torso over to the right, drop your right hand beneath you, left fingertips to right knee, and take a look out over your right shoulder. A deep inhale and exhale. Inhale and come back up through center, reaching fingertips to the sky. Exhale. Left hand behind you, right fingertips to left knee. Breathing into that twist. Inhale. And exhale, looking out over that left shoulder. Inhaling, coming back up through center. Exhale, release your hands down to the side. And then let's, taking our legs wide, not too wide. We don't want to make it too big of a stretch right now. We are in a restorative place today. So just taking a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, just drop your torso slightly forward. Hands can be on the mat in front of you, or if that even seems too far, take a block to rest your hands on. Inhaling, coming back up, and then walking your hands over to the right. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, folding over your right knee. Very gentle fold. Inhaling, coming back up, and then slowly walking your hands over to the left side. Deep breath in, and then exhale, fold over that left knee. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, coming back up, back through center. Deep breath in. Exhale, folding forward one more time. Inhaling, coming back up. And then we're ready to start moving into our restorative poses. So let's gather our props. Our first restorative pose is going to be a restorative child's pose. So I'm going to take both blocks, putting them up to the head of my mat. One block on its medium setting, and then the block that's closer to me on the lowest setting. I'm taking the bolster and just propping it up against those blocks. Just kind of give it a little push, make sure that nothing's going to fall out of the way there. And then we're going to come into that child's pose. So taking your knees and just straddling that mat, straddling the bolster. And this is the first place where you may or may not want the blanket. So I'm going to take that blanket roll just because sometimes having my feet just kind of in that, I'm going to be resting on the tops of my feet. It may not be super comfortable. So I'm going to take that blanket where my feet are going to be and just rest the tops of my ankles over that as I straddle the bolster, and then slowly lower my torso down onto the bolster. And then I'm just going to rest on my left cheek. And we're going to be in this pose for about 5 minutes. So about halfway through, I will let you know that we're halfway through so that you can turn your head to the opposite side. And just let this bolster support you. If you're using the blanket, let it support you. We're about halfway through the supported child's pose. If you'd like to just very gently lift your head and turning over to the other cheek. If at any time you need to make adjustments to your positioning, just to make this more comfortable for you, feel free to take that. And when you are ready, we're going to gently come out of this pose. So pressing into your palms, gently peel your torso up off of the bolster, just letting your head hang. When we come out of these, we really want the head to be the last to come up. And for this class, for the bolster setup that we have now, we're going to actually keep it the same way. But I'm going to come out of the child's pose setting, and I'm going to move the blanket off to the side again. And then let's take your left hip and just bring it right up against the side of the bolster. And then placing both palms on either side. Again, we're going to just let our torso drape over the bolster. So we're on our left hip. We're also going to be just resting on our left cheek. And then your legs are just bent out in front of you in any way that is comfortable for you. And again, this pose will be for about 5 minutes before we go and do the other side. So take this time to let your breath support you. Let your bolster support you. Let the earth beneath support you. When you are ready, we're going to gently just move to the other side by pressing down into both palms, continuing to let your head hang, and then just scoot your knees, kind of crawling underneath you until your right hip is against the bolster. And then you drape your torso down over the bolster, resting on your right cheek, right knees. Knees are facing out to the other side. Again, we will be here for 5 minutes. If at any time you're feeling something is a little bit uncomfortable, make sure that you take that time to adjust. And when you are ready, placing both palms down onto the mat, starting to peel your torso off the bolster, letting your head hang. Coming back up to a seated position. And now we are going to, let me turn and face you, for our final restorative posture. We're going to do bound angle pose. So now we're going to bring our butt up to the base of the bolster and grab that blanket roll that we made earlier. So butt up against the bolster, the soles of your feet, bring those together, letting your knees start to splay out to the side, but that's where the blanket comes in because we don't really want to let that hang too much. So I'm going to take that blanket roll, wrap it around my ankles, stuff the ends underneath so that way my knees don't go as far out to the side. And then taking your palms and just slowly walking your back onto the bolster. And the eyes can be open or closed, whatever is comfortable for you. I like to let my arms rest kind of out at an angle with my palms up. And just taking this last pose. And maybe as we start, just taking the time to bring your hands kind of to that lower belly and just gently massaging, bringing the warmth of your hands to that space. If that feels good for you. And then when you're ready, again, just let your hands drape off to the side. And you can feel free to just stay here as long as you like. And when you are ready to come out, just start by bringing your hands to your outer thighs, just to bring the knees up and toward each other. And rolling over carefully to one side,